I'm probably more on the hyperbole scenario at this point. I kind of think we got 6 weeks of just, yeah, candles. We're going to print green, print, 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 print. Every day you wake up, oh my God, I made more money. And then you wake up and then you go to the bathroom and you haven't checked the price for 3 hours. And you're like, oh my God, I made even more money. And then at some point you go to bed and you're like, honey, should we sell? And then your wife is at this point completely greedy. And she's like, I think you got to hold. And then this is going to repeat for 6 weeks, maybe 12, if we're lucky. And at some point, your wife's going to be wrong and you get to blame her.
Welcome back to Bitcoin.com's Token Narratives, where we discuss the biggest stories shaping the Bitcoin and cryptoverse. I'm Graham Stone, Bitcoin holder, narrative trader from the house Hopium, and Bitcoin.com marketing lead. I am joined by news and research product lead, Bitcoin and crypto conference enjoyer, and healthy critic, aka perennial wet blanket, David Sensel.
Always
we
a
also
pleasure.
have multi-coin maxi, if it works, use it, Mr. Corbin Fraser, who also spends some of his time leading Bitcoin.com as chief executive officer. Welcome, gentlemen, and welcome to everyone who's joining the pod. Let's kick this off with a gut check. How are we feeling about the markets this week? We have bounced. We dropped as low as 89, I think. We bounced back up over 100. Are we back? Are we so back? Or are we still ranging? I'm ranging.
I think we're ranging for right now. No, this is kind of like no man's land, I think, right? We're kind of nearing the top of the range, see what happens from here. But I personally think that we've been consolidating here for a little bit, and the next leg up is more likely than not. So, but obviously, overwhelmingly still positive. Just waiting to see when it'll break out.
So you're biased to the bull side.
Yeah. I think I don't know if we talked about this last week, but the narrative that the inauguration was a sell the news event. I think now it's kind of flipped the other way around, and most people believe, and I would put myself in this camp, that it's not. You long into the inauguration, or you hold your bags. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think mine's like I'm probably more on the hyperbole scenario at this point. I kind of think we got 6 weeks of just, yeah, candles. We're going to print green, print, 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 print. Every day you wake up, oh my God, I made more money. And then you wake up and then you go to the bathroom and you haven't checked the price for 3 hours. And you're like, oh my God, I made even more money. And then at some point you go to bed and you're like, honey, should we sell? And then your wife is at this point completely greedy. And she's like, I think you got to hold. And then this is going to repeat for 6 weeks, maybe 12, if we're lucky. And at some point, your wife's going to be wrong and you get to blame her when you don't sell the top. And
then you're in a meeting and some tech nerds are telling you something about something and you're like, shut up, I'm just looking at the charts.
Yeah, like this is max distraction time for crypto companies. These like Pico bull scenarios where we're testing new all-time highs, productivity completely down.
Mass distraction time. Max
Vietnam
distraction time. All right. Well, we
lost Corbin.
What do you think, Graham? Are you? So I guess I'm bullish. I don't know if I'm hyper bullish. Where would you put yourself on that continuum?
We're back.
Hyper bullish. We're back. Corbin's back. Did you want to finish that thought, Corbin?
I don't even know where I left off. My my VPN decided to just kick me off.
You said max distraction phase, I think.
Oh yeah. I think we're like hitting that max distraction phase, like in the company, like any crypto company, when you're holding bags and people are trading and dealing with all this nonsense garbage, the orange coin, the purple coin, the coin that spins, the meme coins, and all the other nonsense. It's very hard to get everyone working when they're making potentially more money on their gains from the past, say, 6 months of being paid than they are from the next paycheck. So it's kind of like, this is the time to get everyone to rally, guys. We got to go deep. But so it's very distracting, like watching those charts, hearing those bell notifications, getting the push notifications, like, oh, new all-time high hit. And I'm kind of thinking 6 to 12 weeks of just complete pandemonium and distraction, and it'll be fun. It's going to be fun. Everyone who's been along for the ride for the past few years is going to, probably have a good couple weeks, would be my guess. But I could be completely wrong. And then, I don't know, Trump decides like he's like into Bitcoin SV or something like that.
What that would be life-changing money.
I mean, like if you're gonna go like the entertaining route, that would be kind of fun. So we'll see.
That does kind of make sense, though. So 6 to 12 weeks would put us kind of just entering summer, and that's traditionally a slower time of the year, no matter what. Crypto and trad, I think. So that does kind of make sense. I can see that.
Okay, so I'd like to bring up a quite an interesting theory, which I stumbled across last night. And it's about the game theory on the Trump administration pumping our bags, basically. So credit to this guy, Tom Dunleavy, who's a partner at Master Ventures. He outlined this theory, and I'm going to roll with it here. So basically, he's saying that, and he's very confident that we're going to get an actual Bitcoin strategic reserve within the first 100 days of the administration. Now, this is
by actual you mean they're going to actively purchase new Bitcoin? Is that what that means?
Yes. And so not just we're not selling, not just we are confiscating the Bitcoin, or we're allocating the Bitcoin that we've confiscated. Sorry, we're allocating the Bitcoin we've confiscated to the Bitcoin strategic reserve. Instead, an actual purchasing of Bitcoin. This guy seems confident that that's going to actually happen within the first 100 days, and his reasoning makes sense to me. So I'm gonna try to explain it here in a few parts. Okay, so the first part is just the incentives. So the Trump got a lot of support from the crypto world to get elected, right? Friendliness to crypto was a big part of the Trump campaign, and the crypto vote undoubtedly had a big impact on the election. So it essentially enabled Trump's landslide victory. Now, Trump wants to enrich that voter base, right? Because if, first of all, he's fulfilling his campaign promise, but perhaps more importantly, if he passes laws that enrich that voter base, what he's doing there is he's cementing the party's strength for years to come. Those, the people who, the crypto degens who got him in power are going to become financially much more powerful if he enacts these laws. Corbin, you're muted. What you want? Hold on, Corbin, you're muted. Go on. You want to say something?
Sorry, guys. I was just going to say, I think so. No president has ever had that ability to kind of pump people's bags, because if they do well, the U.S. dollar does well, but no individual people actually benefit from that, because who cares? Maybe inflation goes down a little bit, but overall, there's no 10x. There's no 10x on your dollar where you're suddenly like, boo, 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 we're doing great, guys. I'm buying a new car. just because of like, I don't know, some new policy that was announced, and I don't know, CNN's like into it or whatever. So this is kind of a cool theory in the sense that
You're
there's
taking
kind
this
of
theory so far.
yeah, no, I'm bought
exactly.
in. I mean, it makes sense from like the crypto community development standpoint. There was this narrative going around, I don't know, a few months ago, some thread on X where, you know, they were saying like a lot of one of the key things that crypto projects need is community members in green. If you have too many community members in red, you have this negative sentiment shift towards your project, your company, your token, your, I don't know, speculative worth. And yeah, if you have more people in positive, it's kind of like positivity begets positivity and negativity begets negativity. And if you've got some people that are saying, all right, Bitcoin president, maybe I'll grab one of them Bitcoins. And then suddenly he starts doing some stuff that, I don't know, supports more TradFi going in, more ETF inflows, more retail FOMO. And then those people that got in early because they were believers in Trump, because they took the bait, they see a little gain on that, and then they actually do get to buy a car because some stupid stuff the president might say. It's a cool idea if it pans out. I like it.
Okay,
I would just one thing. I would push back a little bit on the idea that no other president has done anything like that. I think it's probably pretty common for presidents to try to reward the base that helps them. I mean, you'd think about this in like, I don't know, oil or maybe even like, what's it called, the deep state military industrial complex. I can imagine previous presidents that I can think of right now that would have taken that into account when they won. So to me, this doesn't seem as outlandish because it kind of makes sense that you would do. You would try to solidify your base that way.
Yeah,
it's
certainly it.
I was going to say it's Trump Bucks 2.0, man. Do you remember the Trump Bucks, the COVID aid packages that everyone was like hyped up about, and then, you know, they're just going to throw it on Coinbase and buy some more Bitcoin and stuff like that. It's kind of great, except maybe now the Trump Bucks are just like, you got to be in, you got to have a position.
Exactly. It's certainly been done before. And the difference is here that the total market cap of the crypto world is so much smaller. So his impact is going to be he's going to have much bigger impact with the policies that he institutes here. And that's going to the upside of his voter base, right?
Well, like what's interesting is that this could expand beyond his voter base as well, where you can actually build global sentiment for I'm reading it right now that there is a huge amount of like Canadians that are supporting the Trump administration more so than ever. And I don't know if that's necessarily because of the Bitcoin side of stuff or just the fact that he's like making fun of Justin Trudeau and stuff like that. But potentially, yeah, you pump everyone's bags across the globe. You've got kind of bought sentiment from China, you've bought sentiment from Russia, and you've got normies across the world being like, Trump's a pretty cool dude, you know, I kind of like him.
Yep. So going back to this theory, okay, so the first part of it is the incentives, right? So the incentives line up. I guess there's one other component to the incentives, which is just simply that like the Trump family itself is pretty involved in crypto. So they also stand to benefit. That's a bit cynical. And, you know, the bigger thing probably is the voter base. All right. Okay. But moving on to the other part of the theory here, which is like, okay, people have noted that it's going to be hard to actually pass a Bitcoin strategic reserve bill, right? You need Congress to do that legislation, right? And that's like much easier said than done. Politics in any country is, you know, fraught with difficulties, and in the U.S. it's glacial. However, this guy, again, credit to Tom Dunleavy, who I'm stealing this theory from. He noted that there's this thing called the Treasury Exchange Stabilization Act, And basically what it does is it enables the government to buy foreign currencies, commodities, and even stocks, as long as the purchases preserve the strength and stability of the US dollar. So Bitcoin, it could be argued, qualifies as an asset that could be purchased under this act. And in order to allow this, you just need basically the Secretary of the Treasury to sign off on any proposals. And of course, the Secretary of the Treasury is appointed by Trump, and it's going to be this guy, Scott Bessent. So who seems crypto friendly. Obviously, he's got more than just that to think about, but really, it doesn't. Point is, it doesn't require an act of Congress. It just requires this guy's signature.
Yeah.
So this idea might not be as hard as people are saying.
Yeah. This idea has been around for at least a few weeks. I heard about it a couple of weeks ago, and I wrote about it in the weekly newsletter. I think the other idea, though, is that it would be a swap, basically. So we already hold a lot of gold under this rule, and so I think the idea would be it's even easier than what you're saying, because it wouldn't be the Treasury wouldn't be adding new assets under management. They'd be swapping some of the gold that they have for this very thing for Bitcoin. So take some of the gold. I can't remember. The numbers are quite large, though, as you could imagine. Take some percentage of that gold, swap it for Bitcoin.
Peter Schiff will be a little bit upset by that, I think.
Yeah, although he'll be very happy that he'll have something else to whinge about online, which is, I think, his true power is the publicity.
Okay, so the strategic Bitcoin reserve, that's the big thing that we're looking at here as the Trump administration takes over, whether we're looking at, yeah. But beyond that, there are the executive orders, which there's rumors that it's likely he's going to, on day one, axe the SEC's SAB 121 rule, which again is the rule which forces banks to list cryptocurrencies as liabilities, effectively locking banks out of the custody game. And that can be repealed, it seems, with a simple executive order, and that seems likely. So that will be one catalyst that seems quite likely to happen.
It's so likely because you have, we reported on this several months ago, but you have like major banks, right? All these traditional financial institutions that have been begging for this for a long time because they want to get into this game. It's an easy win for them. And so it would be very surprising if this didn't happen nearly immediately when you have kind of the entrenched powers that be already asking for this.
Yep.
Sorry, guys, I've been very quiet. I just saw a tweet that from Crypto Kelso. I think some of you guys were in a group with him as well. And the tweet reads, "This is Kelso's daughter. With a heavy heart, I wanted to let everyone know that my dad passed away early yesterday morning. We believe it was due to cardiac arrest. He died peacefully in his sleep. Family's still in mourning, especially his wife, so we asked to be respectful during this time. If you'd like to reach out, contact. Appreciate your love and support." Yeah, so Kelso used to work with Bitcoin.com. He was one of the writers on early Bitcoin.com news. Crypto OG, like true blue native crypto guy. Really, that's shit news. Fuck.
Yeah, my condolences, man.
Yeah.
Get into that age, guys.
Can we read one more of his tweets?
Yeah.
I think he would want this. Okay. He's a funny dude. So I guess he must have been sick or something. I don't know what's going on, but his tweet, one of his tweets on his timeline from January 11th. Heavy ongoing cough, mucus production on an industrial scale, scratchy throat, body ache, COVID test negative, temp normal, self-diagnosis, super AIDS. Oh, yeah,
Oh my
he was
God,
he was
that's
always a
awesome.
cool dude, man. Really funny guy. Big cheerleader for crypto and Bitcoin.com and freedom and like peer-to-peer cash. And yeah, man, what a bummer. That really sucks.
Yeah, dude.
Whew.
Yeah.
Well, look after yourself, guys. Yeah, don't yeah, I guess visit doctors or don't visit doctors. I don't know what to do these days, you know.
Watch out for that super AIDS, man.
The super AIDS is going around. It's going to get you. Fuck. Man. Well, rest in peace, Kel. So, okay, moving on.
Yeah, rest in peace. Yeah, let's move on with a heavy heart here.
To Fartcoin. No, I'm just kidding.
Fartcoin's clearly the next place.
Okay, actually, no. Let's talk about that. Not specifically Fartcoin, but after this dip, Bitcoin went down to 89. We bounced pretty aggressively. Which tokens bounced the hardest, in my opinion, is telling us something important, right? And meme coins did not bounce the hardest. So meme coins are dead.
Stable coins, basically.
Stable coin.
No,
Stable
like,
coins.
so
Stable coins. That's it.
I've been
We've
chatting
moved on
since-
from the meme coin meta, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's-
no,
the
like,
next
I
thing
think the
is
meme coin
something
meta
else.
is kind of, it feels like it's on solid ground. I mean, you all saw me. I went from being hyper bullish to hyper skeptical to then extremely bullish. I don't know. I don't think it's going away now. I don't think this is like like the NFT thing kind of was like a thing and it was a hyper thing. And then now it's like nobody really talks about that we used to trade JPEGs and, you know, dick butts and, you know, random drawings. I think like probably AI art is kind of commoditized all of that, but also wasn't a super liquid market, kind of a lame trading experience. Whereas trading Fartcoin or the latest AI agents or I don't know, racist meme coins, it's fun. It's extremely fun. And
Okay, but
deep liquidity.
yeah,
Just on that, just as a tangent, hold on, just a tiny tangent. I will agree with you that one of the things that I think killed the NFT, that NFT scene of last cycle was how, like, I mean, this is a played out
Cringe.
term, but it was so woke. It was so, you had all these people who were just didn't really fit in with, I feel like the crypto.
yeah, they were
culture.
complaining about the environmental impact of their NFTs.
Good
right?
Lord.
Yeah.
Now,
I remember
Now, again,
all
that does make me bullish, though. Now, for I think the projects that have survived from the ashes, specifically like Milady, as kind of the best example, is that they've fully embraced that culture, and they're as racist and crazy as the rest of us. But anyway, I digress. Sorry, I just wanted.
Well, note that the Milady meme coin cult has been down only since launch. That's an interesting data point.
I think that was expected for me, honestly.
Yeah, because of the insane airdrops that were given to the community.
Only to basically overwhelmingly to Milady holders. Like nobody else got anything compared to them.
Yeah.
So this is the cult airdrop has been basically I would say like 85-90% windfall for people who were deep in Milady and never gave up.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's kind of like an FU to everyone else, right? Like, so yeah. I think long term that'll actually be successful. I think that's the way to do it. Is like because they super rewarded their community, and everyone else got hosed. And I think what'll happen is that dispersion will happen, right? It'll bottom out, and then it'll start to go back up. But again, I think it was a very planned, very deliberate choice that they made. And so it'll be interesting to see if that strategy plays out long term. I personally think it will.
Okay, well, here's the theory I wanted to describe, which is that in 2024 there was was nothing to invest in crypto. All the like VCs had everything locked up, all the good investments. So the hot ball of money in crypto had nothing else to buy. So what did they buy? Meme coins. Now things have changed a little bit. There is something to invest in. People actually do want to invest. This whole like financial nihilism thing. It was just really like as it relates to crypto, it was just really, there was nothing good to buy. There were no good deals. So, okay, let's just buy meme coins. But now there are things like AI infrastructure, AI agent infrastructure, I don't know, like hype, the new L1, things that people can invest in, have a theory on. And that's where the hot ball of money is moving. And it's moved away from meme coins for the time being.
So what do you think about Murad's thesis now, Graham?
Yeah, it seems dead.
It seems so well thought out, though, right? Like when we first were reading it on Token Narratives, I don't know, months ago, we were like, brilliant take.
Oh, I drank
brilliant
the Kool-Aid.
take, hot take. We see it. I see it here now. We're calling it. This is the future. And now we're like, what an idiot. That was dumb.
Yeah. Get a haircut.
Get a haircut. Jesus.
Get a haircut, hippie.
Yeah, invest in the tech. Come on.
Yeah.
Get a job, hippie.
Oh man.
I
Pretty
think
much.
I think meme coins are, here to stay, but I would maybe, I don't know, 60% agree with you, Graham, that there was nothing really to do so much in 2024. And like you said, this whole, what's it called? Low float, high FTV thing, which basically meant VCs got all the money, was kind of all of that kind of combined to really make meme coins the only game in town. And now that it has kind of changed. And projects that started in the bear market, 21, 22, they started to come out in 24, but really 25, I think, is when you're going to see more of them come out, Yeah. And so, yeah, you will see that.
And
I still think meme coins will go well.
This for new coins that are launching now, the majority of them have this fair launch structure, but they're launched on pump fund with the bonding curve, right? They're not launched with like 60% held for the team. I mean, obviously there's ways to game it, but at least you can see from the start what the total supply is there, and it's already circulating.
Have you guys been following some of the new launch pads? Like there's echo.xyz, there's legion.cc.
Echo is Kobe's, right? I signed up. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting idea. It's similar to just being able to say get in early, but not have it all VC, and it's a little bit more of a distributed ownership. It's sort of like, I don't know, early ICOs if they weren't ICOs and they weren't all being front run with like private deals and private deal flow. It's a little bit more transparent and still requires KYC, but like there's kind of maximum allocations as well that kind of keep it fairly distributed, where you don't have like these multi-million-dollar, like, I don't know, big dick swinging VC guys coming in with like millions and being like slapping it down on the table saying like, I own this protocol now, this is mine. It's a little bit more like, I think there's, you can get 5, maybe 10 grand if you're lucky, which does kind of distribute these amounts a little bit more fairly across the board. But yeah, legion.cc I recently checked out, and then echo.xyz I think are the other ones. So there's a couple of these that have just emerged, and I think they're kind of like, there's like this resurgence of ICO interest, I think, and having more fairer launches. And I think and this is largely, I think, only possible because of Gary Gensler being on the way out, because we're kind of seeing a push for pro crypto legislation. People aren't as scared that they're gonna, like, I don't know, end up in a weird Ton Foundation kind of situation. You guys might recall that they kind of got
Pavel.
Yeah, Pavel got
Yeah.
chased to the end of the earth by
Well,
by
not only
the
that,
Indian. Yeah.
but they remember at first they were very, very transparently connected at the hip with Telegram, right? That was the first rendition, and then they had all these legal troubles, and so they had to spin it off and say, no, Ton is not connected to Telegram at all. There's no connection. They're completely separate companies. It's like ByteDance, right? And so they had to at least pretend for a long time that there was no strong connection. I wonder if that'll change, actually.
All right. Speaking of legal troubles, let's transition to Tether, who, big news this week, has announced that they are moving to El Salvador. Now, little fact about this. Okay, so Tether's profits for the year are in the billions. I believe it's around 10 billion profit after, I mean, their expenses are nothing because they have just like 3 people working there. But yeah, they raked in about 10 billion in 2024. They're moving to El Salvador, which has a GDP of about 35 billion, I believe. So that's interesting. My question is for you guys is, okay, is this bullish for El Salvador? Does this reek of desperation for Tether? They're like, that's the only place they could safely. They're like tying themselves to this small Central American nation in the hopes that they won't get thrown in jail for running their business elsewhere. Any other thoughts on this? Is it a massive fail for the U.S.?
I kind of think it's probably a twofold thing. Like there was already quite a bit of, I'd say, like USDT and Tether penetration in El Salvador prior to this announcement. I know they'd made some investments into the area as well, in different companies. I don't know if they were public, but just rumors. So I suspect that there's just kind of like a, what would you call it? Kind of like a sort of a flow already happening of funds into that region to build it up. And we've seen this from the Bitcoiners and the Bitcoin Maximies, and Tether has always kind of allied itself a little bit more with the orange coin, vibes. They're like, even though they're, say, one of the most used stable coins across all of Web3, they very much seem to have a little bit more of a foot into the orange camp. And I think maybe that Tether side of stuff, just given Bitcoin being the dominant cryptocurrency on the market, kind of makes sense to kind of keep that relationship strong. I don't really see it as like a concession or like any, trying to find an easy thing, because they could have done this anywhere, right? They could have done it in Singapore, they could have done it in UAE, but they did it in El Salvador. And my guess is they realized that the United States is the center of the universe, and the United States is going to become the center of the universe for Bitcoin and crypto over the next 4 to 8 years. I mean, let's be real. There's no Democratic nominee that's coming back in the next 4 years that's going to potentially, get people on board with like progressivism, woke ideology. It's cooked. It's done. That's a dead horse you can't kick any longer. So you've got probably like an 8-year bet, in my opinion. And that 8-year bet is United States good. Everywhere else probably going to have some like liquidity vacuumed into the US. So you're going to have crypto companies potentially from Singapore going stateside. You're going to have potentially crypto companies from UAE going stateside. You're going to have this diaspora of people maybe returning to the United States because, I mean, why wouldn't you? If you're going to want to like live anywhere, you got the most consumers, you got the most GDP, you got just a vibe and an energy, you got Trump dances going on. And El Salvador is a hell of a lot closer than being in Singapore and having to fly back and forth between the US, on these like 20-hour flights, dealing with jet lag, all the nonsense. So I think it's kind of like a strategic outposting in the same way that Cuban Missile Crisis kind of scared the shit out of the US. This is kind of like the El Salvador Bitcoin missile. And they're just like, hey, we're just waiting. We're waiting. We're on standby. We're gonna come in, but we're gonna come in with not hostility. We're coming in to like play. That'd be my read.
I 100% agree, Corbin. I 100% agree. I think, yeah, absolutely. I would just add that any like fears that Tether's trying to avoid control with the U.S. or the U.S. doesn't have a good relationship with Tether. I don't buy that anymore whatsoever. They have so much cash. They're a stablecoin issuer in U.S. dollars mostly, almost overwhelmingly. The U.S. has control over them no matter what. If you're a stablecoin issuer issuing dollars, the U.S. is gonna tell you what to do. I don't care where you are in the world. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't. So I mean, yeah, well, I 100% agree with you, Corbin.
So I've also heard some rumors as well that there's just I mean, who holds the Tether T-bills, right? We know that they're holding T-bills.
Yeah, so an American bank.
And what bank is, so you could pull on that. And are they already embedded in the administration? I would probably say they probably are. Maybe not embedded, but they're within they're orbiting. So
yeah,
I think they're there.
We talked about this. Yeah, we talked about this. The bank that holds the most of their T-bills, he's now in the cabinet, I believe, in Trump's cabinet. So I mean, right. There's no FUD here.
That's bullish for Tether, man. That's bullish for USDT. That's bullish for any of their products. I mean, like Paolo and Paolo Arduino. I can never pronounce his last name. Smart guy, man. Super smart guy. And I think they're gonna have a great 4 to 8 years. Assuming crypto and Trump and Bitcoin president, it all pans out as we hope it to.
Yeah. So I just want to say this as I am a wet blanket, and being a wet blanket, I've hated on Tether for a long, long time, and I thought that they were a scammy company and whatnot.
Tether truther.
I was, and so I followed all those accounts like Bitfinex and a couple others like this, but I think it's undeniable now that they're in the clear, and that whatever you think that they are legit now. And I still follow these accounts, and I was surprised that they took this news that they're going to El Salvador as bad news. And I don't know. At this point, I'm like I don't think you guys are seeing very clearly, honestly. And they're smart people. I followed them for a long time. I don't see it.
Well, there's probably still, depending on some of these accounts, they might have this American stupid bias where they just don't know anything outside of America. And they're like, El Salvador, isn't that like tin shacks and like chickens? Like, why would they be going there? And I think they maybe aren't completely aware that there's a lot of stuff happening in El Salvador. It's a growing economy. It's cleaned up. It is potentially like an outpost nation that could serve and support some of the United States interests. And I mean, like, I don't know, maybe it's a bit of like just dumb bias of that's a weak position to put yourself in. But like, what are they going to do? Like, go into New York? That's the dumbest thing they could possibly do right now. They would be caught up in legal bullshit. They'd be still caught up with this like legacy blue state. You'd have woke judges trying to get rid of them and chase them out, and they're just like, hey, we just want to do business. So yeah, I don't think you can go into the U.S. quite yet. But people are preparing. And honestly, for
that. I think if you're a smart bureaucrat or a high level person in the U.S. government, you would. This is good for them as well, right? Because like it allows them to have like $1 fire hose that's kind of nominally outside of U.S. laws that the government can, in many ways, dictate as well, right? Because they're the providers of dollars and the holders of their T-bills. So even from a U.S. perspective, it kind of makes sense that you would have this large holder of dollars just outside of control, on paper outside of control. So it seems.
What would a good relationship, if the United States government had a good relationship with Tether, who owns a substantial amount of T-bills, how would that affect a relationship with the Fed, given we know that the Fed is somewhat maybe still hostile towards like this idea of crypto?
I think though, whatever, you can go into different directions on this. Like I think that there's in some areas a national security interest. And then in others, probably too small still for it to matter for the banking system, right? We're still talking about like very, very small amounts of money. But as this goes into the future, I mean, it allows them to essentially sell U.S. treasuries to anyone in the world, right? And if the government wants to issue more debt, this is not a bad thing for them to have a kind of a third party way to get access to treasuries pretty easily. So I don't know. It seems like a win-win. Now, again, like you said, they might eventually come back into the U.S., but I don't see why there's a need, really. Like you said, at this point.
Okay, let's move on to XRP, which is another token that bounced significantly after this dip. It has now flipped Ethereum, or is about to.
No, it's flipped Tether. It's number 3. Now that it's in the number 3 position, all the talks go to, is the flippening going to happen? The new flippening. I think at Ethereum's current market cap, it would be around like $6.30. So
it's only another 2x or so from here.
Is Ethereum going to have that much of a bad year? I mean, come on, Ethereum is just getting its ass whooped here.
We need to send
Ethereum's
Ethereum positive energy, okay? Because I just can't deal. I can't deal with that one. That one's just that's been this portion of my portfolio that I've just been like,
just dump it.
flip it for something over.
Can you imagine?
Put it in XRP.
Can you imagine? Yeah. Imagine the smell, boys. If Ethereum, if XRP flipped Ethereum, I mean, good God.
Question though, do you guys know anyone that's like extremely like an XRP person anymore? Like I remember in 2017, there was a few, I met a couple at like a Tokyo Bitcoin meetup, and they were like, I think they were fairly underwater already at this point. And there was like, just as soon as Ripple gets back to $3, we're going to be on the moon. And I wonder if they held.
They are.
They're probably doing pretty good right now. But
they're on the moon.
He was full on an XRP guy. But that was like the only time I've ever met one in the wild. It was like I've never been to a conference where someone's like, XRP baby, that's my thing. And I've never really seen many people online, even kind of, I don't know, maybe a couple shill accounts, but it's never like relative to Cardano or relative to BSV, relative to like name the crypto. I've seen a ton of those. I don't see a lot of XRP things, and yet it's doing all this stuff.
It's a mystery.
It's weird.
It's a real mystery.
I think if you go to your local sanitarium or I don't know, kindergarten for adults or something like that, you probably see a lot of XRP shirts and hats is my guess. But I haven't.
XRP is one of those. It's one of those tokens that crypto insiders, people who follow the industry closely, scoff at. It's XRP and Cardano. That we love to hate them.
It's kind of that no true Scotsman. It's not quite a crypto. It's kind of a crypto, but it's not really a pure crypto. It doesn't have Satoshi. It doesn't have an anonymous dude. It's not wasn't like a ICO. Was it an ICO? Was XRP an ICO? I don't think it was. I think it was just a company that issued tokens, wasn't it?
I don't know.
But David, you added some notes to the doc here about SRP, which is that it is now twice the value. The token is twice the value of Uber.
Yep.
Bigger than Shopify, PayPal, MicroStrategy combined. Yep. 5 times the size of Coinbase.
Damn.
So, seems sustainable.
Yeah.
Ripple did not do an ICO, guys. It never held an ICO, and that's what it responded to the SEC charge. Yeah. I got to hand it to the Ripple guys, though, at least for like fighting that SEC case. That's pretty, pretty based on.
I mean, that's their play basically has been, it seems like Coinbase did this Coinbase did this as well, but XRP really, they persevered for years and years fighting all this stuff. And honestly, I personally thought they would lose and maybe should have lost. I did feel like a little bit like a security kind of thing, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. Here we are. And they've it seems like they've gotten close to Trump. At least they're making a show of it. So yeah, and
were they always Trump people though?
No, they weren't. So here, there's all this stuff coming out. Like a year ago, they gave 12 million to Kamala Coin. So that, it's been a massive reversal. Probably like Facebook, they saw the shift in the winds, and now they're paying the respects. We were always on your side.
Do you suspect that the Trump administration and that like Americans on the right are kind of sniffing out real supporters and kind of what would you call it? Sort of crony support? Maybe not crony. What's the word I'm looking for?
Fair weather supporters, or
they're sort of like, interesting timing to suddenly support us.
Well, yeah, I mean, Bezos and Zuck, they both have kind of come around suddenly. I hope and I think that the Trump admin knows that these people are not to be relied upon. It's good to have them on your side while they are here, but I at least I hope that they can see how transparently political they are, right? So
it could also just be that they were taking the bet, right? Which is they're probably going to steal the election again. It's like, let's just make sure we got some friends in that blue camp. Yeah,
yeah, man. But on to so XRP also, like, did you guys hear the rumors that that Trump might be open to a crypto reserve, not just a Bitcoin reserve, like crypto reserve?
I heard Solana's in the mix.
Well, because I couldn't find the reporting on it this morning to track down sources, so I only saw it on the timeline last night, and I was like, "Good Lord!" But basically saying like, Trump was saying something like, we would look favorably upon crypto that was made in the USA, baby, and so that brings to mind Solana and XRP, right? Those would be the big ones.
That might also lead or give some credence to the possibility that Bitcoin was a inside Fed project.
That's right, CIA coin.
America made by the Central Intelligence Agency.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to change the topic. Last thoughts on XRP?
I just want to say one thing. I have been talking about XRP in my weekly newsletter for months. You can go back. I have the receipts saying this is the coin, strength, this is it. And I just want to say I have fumbled this trade though, right? So I had the right.
You taught the book, you didn't hold the coin.
Well, no, so I was waiting for an entry. It's just like I'm a terrible trader. This is why I'm on this goddamn program right now, is I can't trade worth a damn. And so two nights ago, I was like looking at the chart, like the XRP chart, which I'm looking at right now. And I was like, okay, it needs to break this level and then I'll get back in. I'll get in with a long. And I had the thing all lined up, and now my entry's gone, and I'm so upset with myself for having the right idea, I think for the right reasons as well, and then no execution. Oh my God, it's just the most frustrating thing ever.
Actually, I remember, David, in 2017 that you got screwed by XRP as well, didn't you?
I did. It's been a long, tumultuous, one-sided, bad relationship with
what was that? What was that story there? Basically, you bought it and then sold it at a loss. And then it pumped like 10x?
I bought it and sold it at a loss. It was the classic, but this was more just me being stupid. This is like the thing that happens to first cyclers, where you buy something and then you see everything else pumping around you. And then so you sell what you have.
You switch.
And you just like chase the shiny object, and you don't give time for your shiny object to pump. And that's what happened.
Yeah. And in 2017, that happened with every coin. Every coin pumped.
Hundreds
even
of percent.
in the last cycle, there wasn't much dispersion, but this cycle, it could be argued that not everything will pump. when alt season happens, as it did for a few weeks in late November, early December, the Bitcoin dominance went down. Not all altcoins pumped. I mean, there are 10 million cryptocurrencies now, so they can't all pump. But
we really haven't had an altcoin season.
Pump. Well, no, we did have a few weeks of Bitcoin dominance going down. If you look at the Bitcoin dominance chart.
No, I know. I saw that, but that's nothing compared to like how far it should go down, right?
Yeah, well, okay. So that's a good thing to discuss here, right? Because the Bitcoin dominance chart, and actually I can pull that up here. Well, let's talk about it. So in 2017, the Bitcoin dominance went from, I believe, 80% to like
something like that,
20%, like 30%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not going to see that.
And then that's not happening. In 2020, it went from 60 to 35 or so. So it halved. And this time so far, we've gone from about 60 to like 55. Is it going to go down to 40 again?
Well, I think
if it does.
Well, there's two things happening here, though. There's two things happening here. As Bitcoin's market cap grows, right, as it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, you don't need the dominance to fall that much to get that kind of insane altcoin output, right? So,
well, it works both ways, though, because the other side of the market is also a lot bigger. So, yeah, if funds move from Bitcoin to altcoins, there's more money to move over, but there's also more coins to move into. So they can't all pump.
No, I agree they can't all pump, but I personally wouldn't put like Ethereum and Solana in like quote unquote altcoins, right? Like, so for me, an altcoin season would not be Ethereum and Solana per se, right? You would see some gains, but I'm talking about that maniacal phase where small, so mid, small, and shit coins just go crazy, right? And I don't know. I don't think we've seen anything like that yet. We saw a little meme coin season, but there wasn't. You didn't see like legit names.
But are meme coins the multiples. New alts? I guess. I mean, like maybe this idea of projects and utility and protocols is all contrived and bullshit at this point. Maybe all people want is just a good old fashioned Fartcoin. And yeah, I mean,
you got to,
$1.5 billion market cap. I mean, if we're not in an alt season right now, a little bit still, like, what's that doing? Why is one Fartcoin worth $1.50? It's mental, man. Total supply of 1 billion. $1.50 per fart. Amazing.
Oh man!
Actually, that's not that expensive when you think about it like that.
Yeah, I think it's got room to grow. To be honest, man, I think this thing can keep going.
Room to grow. Yeah. Okay. I mean.
Okay. What?
So, one question I try to I wrestle with a little bit is, so you look at like a meme coin, your Fartcoin, 1 billion, 2 billion. Right, that tends to be the limit right now, where it starts to get much harder to compound. And then you have like Murad and some of these others throw out numbers like it's going to go. Some meme coins are going to go to 25, 40, 50 billion. I don't know. I personally am skeptical about that. I don't know.
Me too. Pepe's at what, 7.7 billion, 7.8 billion.
You think it'll double from here?
I don't know, man. Pepe's got staying power. I don't think it's going to rip, though, like a fart.
To 50 billion?
That seems a little much. I mean, no, I think this is Murad smoking crack again. I don't buy it. That's too much. It'll go up. I'm sure all of memes and alt seasons will go up, but I just it's, you know what it reminds me of? It's a bit of the super cycle talk of last cycle of like, oh yeah, it's the super cycle, ETH to over 15K. Here we are with this like basically stable coin ETH, and everything else around it's moving, and people are leaving for greener pastures. I don't know. I think some people get a little bit. They start smelling their own farts. Is the problem? Get a little bit too bullish. They think they know, and they start actually convincing other people they know, and then they think, man, my bullish takes are so good. I'm just going to keep bull posting until the market crashes around them, and they say, I'll just off by a cycle. It'll be next cycle. Don't worry, guys.
Yeah, that's right. Where do you see the number 2 coin, whatever it is, landing at the cycle top, market cap wise?
I'd never really thought about that, man. Bitcoin
is at 1.9. Is that right? Trillion?
Jeez.
Yeah.
And so it'll go up to, like, what do you think? 2.5 to 3 is like the.
Yeah, I mean,
ish.
I could see 3. Why not? Sure.
Okay, so 2.5 to 3 trillion for Bitcoin. Where does the number 2 coin go to? Whatever it is.
I don't think it goes as high. I think the gap widens
in relative terms.
I think the gap between 1 and 2 will widen during Pico top. I don't think there's going to be this relative percentage where everything goes up and it's like a rising tide.
You don't think?
Boats. I think it's going to do better than everything else.
Yeah. So last time I remember there was talk of, was it in the last cycle? They were talking of the Ethereum flippening, right? That got really kind of.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be anyone even thinking about how Bitcoin's going to get flipped by anything, right?
Can I tell you why I'm not dumping my ETH yet?
Go ahead.
Yeah,
please.
It's a really stupid take. The only reason I'm not selling it is because Trump and his team are buying. And I'm praying that maybe they know something I don't. I'm trading on their potential insider information of, like, if they're buying, I guess I'll keep holding. We'll see what's going on.
They did, right? They sold Bitcoin for ETH this week.
Yeah.
Right. So, you never know. I mean, they're in the ETH trenches, right? They're not that's their trenches, but they're in the ETH DeFi ecosystem. Pretty good amount. So yeah,
I'll just keep earning my ETH yield, just being a pleasant bag holder.
1.7%.
Yeah. Dude, interest on ETH is terrible. It's like you're lucky if you can get like 3 to 4.
Graham, could you pull up on the show and tell? I put up a meme on ETH L2s, so this will be me being a wet blanket for you, Corbin. You're welcome.
Got it.
I thought this was funny.
Never ask a woman her age, a man his salary, or ETH L2s if they're competing with L1.
Do you think ETH would ever do the high T play of actually charging some of these L1s like a reasonable fee to support ETH, or do you think that would just scare off an L2 to being like, you know what, I guess we don't need to be an L2, we could just be an L1.
Yeah, exactly. The incentives are all wrong. It does, like, that's why Solana's better, because the chain works and applications can build on it without having to create a new chain. Ethereum doesn't work, so if you become successful on it, you have to create a new chain to actually, like, have your application work.
Yeah, I think in the long run, ETH is on the right track, and I think Solana, like I've said this before, so I'm not saying anything new, but Solana is going to have to do the same thing eventually. But the difference is, what is the kind of, people in crypto love to say this, so I hate myself for saying this, but it's path dependent, guys, right? So is it better to do what Solana's doing, which is you try to make it as fast as you can, as usable and performant as you can, and then later on when you reach that limit, then you start tacking on all these L2s? Or is ETH's vision better, where you build out the whole ecosystem first, and then in the short term you suffer this kind of cannibalization effect, but you provide more than enough execution and block space and all that. And so then the ecosystems can thrive. And eventually there'll be enough activity to make ETH not poor man's land.
I think it has to be the former. The Ethereum model doesn't work because as they're like, it just loses its network effects.
Is it though? So there is more activity right now on Solana, but the L2s seem pretty vibrant in terms of people building stuff on them, and getting stuff done. But it
doesn't help Ethereum when there's
right now.
The L2s don't help Ethereum
right now. The idea is that you have to weather this part, and then they'll be better suited for the future. Again, I don't know if this is the right play. Like, I think Cosmos is kind of an example of maybe this not working, right? They built all the infrastructure out. They had all this like base layer stuff, and a lot of stuff on Cosmos is being used.
And then it disappeared.
Well,
exactly. They took one for the crypto team.
Yeah, exactly. They I don't know if it's like maybe they're bad at BD and marketing, right? So they weren't able to attract the developers and get the mind share. So maybe Ethereum is losing heavily on that front. And Solana is doing well. But I mean, look, let me ask you a question, Graham. When's the last time you used Solana?
Like last night, probably.
Okay. And what were you doing? Pump.fun? A DEX? Jupiter?
Yeah, just trading. Yeah, trading on Radium or something. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so is there really anything special yet on Solana? Is there?
Well, it works.
Like a killer use case? No, but so does Base or Arbitrum, or I use Base and Arbitrum all the time. Right?
Yeah. It works about the same, but there are like less tokens on it.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't know. I look at Solana, and yeah, so you have all these dApps and stuff, and I'm on Solana, but it's doing the same damn thing I'm doing on Base or Arbitrum, and as far as I can tell, there really isn't that much of a difference. So I don't know. Solana has more execution, I guess. It hasn't really been tested since last March when the meme coin frenzy reached its peak, and then it sucked. It was awful. I don't know. I mean, you guys were. I had a whiff position. I was like, sell, and it was just like transaction FU over and over and over again. So I don't know.
Yeah, that happens. That happens to me regularly on Base recently.
Yeah,
as well.
I just don't see there was a guy. There's a Mega ETH. I don't know if you've heard of Mega ETH, one of the devs, I think, for Mega ETH. He got into a big debate with, not a big debate, he got into a debate with Mert, and I think Anatoly was in there and whatnot. And his whole thing was like, if you take all the transactions per second that are happening on all chains, Solana, and then the whole ecosystem of L2s, it's like under 1500 TPS per second. The entire thing. Right. And Solana's talking about getting 1 million transactions per second chain. And it's like, okay, good. But for what? What do you need all that execution for right now? The only thing that you're doing on any of these chains is, I don't know, swapping, right? Like I don't know. So to me, the game is still far from over. And whenever there's like whatever a Solana killer app that actually has to like absorb and use a lot of execution, then I'll be like, oh man, well, Ethereum's kind of screwed now.
Yeah, and it'll be built on Solana for sure. Because
will it?
Yeah, because why would you build on Coinbase chain? And that's your only option in Ethereum land. You're going to build on this corporate chain. Nobody wants that. So if you're like a building some new project, of course you're going to build it on Solana because it's the one that works and it's not controlled by Coinbase.
But why is Base popular anyway? It's because
Coinbase pumps it.
Well, they haven't really yet. I think all the people in crypto are front running that.
They absolutely are pumping it. I mean, they're pushing they're funneling their users there. Not only that, but like the TVL on Coinbase, that like apparently Coinbase is like putting their customers' funds there like that. Like it's not really the TVL that the users are using, right? It's like Coinbase, the exchange is like, we're custodying our assets on Base, so it looks like Base has a ton of.
That's a good thing, right? Like,
but it is kind of it's sure, I get it, but it's not a true measure of the chain's actual use by consumers.
But
consumers are using this centralized exchange. And
I mean, if you just go off like TVL data and you're trying to measure, L2 versus L2, and you're looking for where to deploy funds or where to deploy your bag or where to play, you might look at that data point and say, wow, everyone's on Base. I guess I better go hang there. But in reality, it's just, a few thousand nerds, trading amongst each other. But the TVL is just juiced. So I see your point there. I do think though that like the good thing with EVM is just you deploy once and you can deploy everywhere for the most part. Solana is a pain in the ass still to develop on. It's gotten a lot easier but if you're only doing tokens and meme coins and stuff like that, you don't really need much. That's kind of like one of the, I guess, beautiful things about the Solana crowd is that you don't need utility. The EVM and ETH space, they've all really bought in on this thing that like your token should actually have some function. And maybe that's both for its, I don't know, in my head, it does feel cleaner, but maybe the Solana craze is kind of proven that the market doesn't care. Yeah.
I mean, I don't get me wrong. My Solana bags are heavy now still, but I don't think that there's anywhere near a clear winner yet in terms of which of these experiments will win out. The Solana style focus on the L1, and that's it. And the Ethereum. I think
this is the other thing is nobody wins, right? Like there is never a winner. I think I hear this a lot in the crypto space where they talk about like, oh yeah, well when ETH flips BTC, it'll be the winner. For how long? A month? A year? A decade? Like you can be the winner for the season or the winner for the cycle or the winner for the month, but like things are moving. And I think it's, even if in the event Solana flips ETH in the future, it's going to start riding. It might take it easy and stop innovating. And then either ETH or some L2 or some new L1 shows up that starts innovating because they've got more to gain. So the risk versus reward becomes extreme upside for them to just go ham. Whereas Solana might be like, well, we got this number 2 position. We got to be a little safe, more conservative here now that we're like a respected chain here. And yeah, they just kind of coast. So I don't think anyone's ever a winner or a loser. It's just like you can you get a temporary W. You get to wear the belt for a season, but it's probably going to get taken at some point.
The network effects are strong though. Like that enables you to be entrenched.
I think if you can build the moat, like Bitcoin has, I would say, for the most part, done a pretty damn good job at becoming extremely entrenched in everything. Like it's not going to be upseated easily. It would take major issues related to like, I don't know, quantum risk or them. Like the only time I could ever see a Bitcoin flipping is like, some major black swan and they refuse to hard fork to save it, or they get caught up in some soft fork debate that, I don't know, causes some issues, and then everyone else it just bleeds out or something like that. But it's so unlikely at this point that, but I think everything below that one spot, that's free reign to like flip around. I think you're always going to have people jumping in. We haven't seen it yet with ETH for a long time though. So like that'll be extremely interesting. But like, man, I remember a time when Bitcoin Cash was like number 3, number 4, and it worked its way up and then it worked its way back down. But like these things, things move in and then they move back out, and you kind of have some hype and excitement move in, and then it kind of wanes, and some new things show up, and then it wanes, and it's just it's a revolving door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here on Token Narratives.
That's right.
Yeah. Identify those narratives, capitalize on them, make the trades.
Or don't make the trades like David.
Or don't make the trades.
Damn it.
Yeah.
So annoying.
All right.
Yeah.
One of these days, wag me. We're all going to make it, gentlemen.
Isn't that
All right.
Zuckerberg's sister's song?
It's a good song, man. I hope she comes back. I want more. It's not the top until Zuckerberg's sister drops another single. Crypto single.
Please no.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. See you next week.
Good
Thank
podcast,
you.
fellas.